There are a lot of ways to plot and outline a story. Whether it be a short story or a novel, a lot of planning does go into it. For this video, I'll be outlining a short story for a writing competition, and details of this competition will be added to the description. My document right now has a standard 3-act structure. I'll be treating each point of the outline as a writing prompt, slowly creating my story as I follow along. Please feel free to write with me, take notes, or simply listen. Naturally, we start with the first act. This includes the hook, the inciting event, the key event, and the first plot point. Your hook is a critical part of your story, and your title can act as a hook as well. It must engage the reader and also convince the reader that they want to know what comes next. The best way to accomplish this is with tension and conflict. Try not to overthink it. What helps me start a story is to begin at the latest point possible. And what I mean by that is to disregard prologue and any fluff you think the reader needs to develop an emotional attachment to your characters. Some stories begin dramatically with a sudden act of violence. Others begin with a call to action, like an invitation letter to Hogwarts. After you're satisfied with your hook, we go into the inciting event, which officially starts the plot. The point of the inciting event is to create a sense of urgency, or establish the conflict, or mark a clear enemy. Then there is the key event, which is meant to be about the protagonist and how he or she is engaged to the plot. The first act ends at the first plot point. It is the end of the story setup. The setting, plot, the main characters, all in all, your world should be established. This will lead you to the second act. The second act has 2 parts. I consider these to be the try-fail cycles. This marks a period of reactions and actions to antagonistic forces in the story. The first half of the second act includes the first pinch point and the midpoint. The first pinch point is essentially elevated conflict. It is a chance for the writer to raise the stakes, endanger the hero, or demonstrate the kind of threat the antagonist wields. The midpoint allows the hero a better understanding of the conflict, meaning he or she will now have a better chance at resolving the problem. The second half of the second act should be the final try-fail cycle, formerly known as the second pinch point and the final plot point. This means that even with the better understanding of the enemy and the conflict, the hero will still face defeat. That could mean a lot of things. It could mean the character losing her only ally, getting demoted, or perhaps falling into the antagonist's trap. The third and final act contains the climax, the final turning point where the protagonist faces off against the antagonist, typically a battle or confrontation. Then there is the climactic moment. This occurs at the end of the climax. This is where the conflict is finally resolved. These are typically easy to identify, as this usually ends with the defeat of the antagonist and some sort of victory or revelation for the main character. But the act isn't over yet. The story still needs the resolution. This should be a moment of validation for the reader. Some amateur writers may be tempted to do a cliffhanger because they're relying on the sequel to answer the reader's remaining questions. Stories, even belonging to a series, should be able to stand alone. Hooks are hard to write, and the resolution can be even harder, especially when tying up loose ends. It helps to remember that there is a point to solving the conflict and what that means for the characters. The remainder of this video is intended for writing out any ideas they may have come up with. Please feel free to use the timestamps to revisit my explanations on the 3-act structure. Get yourself a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and enjoy.